Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, welcome. My name's Braden Timmons, and today we have got some Friday the 13th news. It's a rumor, actually, that the Friday the 13th dispute has finally been resolved, and this comes to us from the original Tommy Jarvis, the first person to play Tommy Jarvis in the Friday the 13th films, and that's Corey Feldman. The source today comes from bloodydisgusting.com. If you guys are, if you guys have been here for a while, you guys know that my go-to source is Bloody Disgusting. I do think that they are reliable, but we're going to go through this article together because this literally was posted this morning. As of right now, it's 10:43 a.m. Central Standard Time, and it was posted about 47 minutes ago for me. So we're going to go through this because I'm really interested, and obviously, as a horror fan, I'd love to see a Friday the 13th or a new Friday the 13th movie come, especially because right now we've got all of these different slashers that are coming back. You know, we have Ghostface coming back. We've got Michael coming back in the second movie since, obviously Halloween 2018. But this is the second time Michael has returned recently to theaters. And obviously we have Halloween Ends coming next year. We've got a Leatherface movie coming with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre official sequel, coming whenever that's going to come out. But either way, and then we've got Chucky, the TV series. So it's a great time to be a slasher fan. Would love to see a movie like with Freddy Krueger or Jason. So let's dive into this article. So this comes to us again from bloodydisgusting.com, and it says, rumor, Corey Feldman claims Friday the 13th dispute resolved. The original reboot plan was a Tommy versus Jason. And I read a little of this article, but let's go through this. So, having starred in everything from The Lost Boys to Stand By Me, The Goonies, Gremlins, The Burbs, and even License to Drive, Corey Feldman's legacy goes far beyond his battle with Jason Voorhees. Yet, the child star is best known among horror fans as Tommy Jarvis, the young, aspiring special effects artist who is the only character to actually kill the iconic hockey masked slasher. In a way, the impact of Feldman's Tommy Jarvis in Friday the 13th, the final chapter, could be likened to that of Jamie Lee Curtis in John Carpenter's Halloween. The idea that he could reprise his role in a future Friday isn't all that crazy, especially after the success of Halloween 2018. In fact, it would actually be pretty damn cool. I agree. In speaking to MovieWeb, Feldman makes some bold claims, telling the site that before Platinum Dunes remade Friday the 13th in 2009, the plan was to pit Tommy against Jason, Freddy versus Jason style. That could kind of be badass if you ask me. Let's just hope that they don't make it like they did the last one, because that was terrible. Feldman rudely asserts before diving in headfirst where they messed up, as if they had been meeting with me about doing Tommy versus Jason like H2O style. That was the plan. They didn't go that route, and they went and did this awful atrocity of a reboot instead. Not to talk badly about Platinum Dunes, but I had met with them prior to making that movie, and they had promised me that they were going to use me and bring Tommy Jarvis back in the version that they had originally planned to make, and then that all got scratched for that ridiculous whatever it was, Feldman alleges. That might piss off some reboot fans, because I know that there are people that actually do like the Friday the 13th reboot, me being included. I actually think that the Friday the 13th reboot is one of the better horror reboots, that's been made. My own personal recollection of the developmental process was that the directive from Warner Brothers, New Line Cinema, was always to do a reboot and never to toy with a canonized version or even try something uniquely different. Digressing, Feldman uses this to seg into the next Friday the 13th and to project his involvement. It's a concept I find extremely exciting and fully endorse. If they were doing things the right way and they were listening to what the fans really want, and they had their ear to the ground and the pulse of what's going on in pop culture society, what they should do is revamp the idea of bringing Tommy back 40 years later to go up against his nemesis, the same way they did with Jamie Lee Curtis and the Halloween reboot. It's a sequel, not a reboot, Feldman exclaims. Now, of course, they've taken that idea and redone that 5 different ways. Well, all we're asking for is one Tommy versus Jason sequel. That's all we're asking for. Feldman is also so passionate about his take that he even developed a pitch that he took directly to the studio. me and the original writer of the final chapter, Barney Cohen, had gotten together and fleshed out a treatment for Tommy versus Jason, and we were pitching it to Paramount and New Line about 6 or 7 years ago, but it just never went forward because of all the tie-up and all of the legal litigation stuff going on. Speaking of, let's make one thing crystal clear before we move forward. Corey Feldman is not a source. In fact, it's extremely unlikely that he has any real insight into any of the developmental happenings behind the Friday the 13th franchise. With that said, here's what he says about the long-gestured battle for the franchise rights between the original screenwriter Victor Miller and Horror Inc. Sean Cunningham. Interestingly enough, some guy came up to me at a party, this is true, 2 weeks ago and said he has resolved the rights issues, Feldman claims. He's a lawyer and he has resolved the rights issues around Friday the 13th and that things are working out and now they'll be able to start making Friday the 13th movies again. Again, I cannot stress this enough. This all must be taken with an extremely small grain of salt. It's highly unlikely Feldman has any actual insight into the happenings behind the scenes of Friday the 13th, but I do admire his passion. And if things ever do get figured out, I do love the idea of seeing Feldman return as the role of Tommy Jarvis to kick Jason Voorhees' ass one final time. And that's the article, guys. So Feldman is not an actual source, and like I believe this was Brad Miska. Yeah, Brad Miska says in his article that this needs to be taken with an extremely light grain of salt. Now, I would, of course, this would be awesome to see Corey Feldman go up against Jason Voorhees again in a Friday the 13th movie would honestly be awesome. Obviously, all of us love Tom Matthews from Friday the 13th Part 6, right? And we're even seeing Tom Matthews go up against Jason Voorhees again in the fan film series, the Never Hike Alone fan film series, which is excellent for anybody who hasn't, seen the Never Hike series. Highly recommend. There's 2 of them right now. There's Never Hike in the Snow, which is a prequel to Never Hike Alone, and then there's Never Hike Alone. I'd recommend actually watching Never Hike Alone first, and then going back and watching Never Hike in the Snow, because there's some Easter eggs from Never Hike Alone that you might catch. But anyway, that's besides the point. So Tommy Jarvis is within those films, and he's played by Tom Matthews, and Vincent DeSanti and team is doing an excellent job. But it would be really awesome to see a Tommy versus Jason movie in a Freddy versus Jason type of style way. Because Freddy vs. Jason, say whatever you want about that movie, the final 10 to 15 minutes of that movie, the fight between Freddy and Jason, is absolutely freaking brutal, and I love it. I think that it's an awesome way to end the movie, and it really doesn't hold back on the gore, and it gives fans exactly what they wanted, and that was watching the 2 of them battle it out. While throughout the course of the movie, it was just kind of like leading up to that, and then boom, we got that final fight, and it was awesome. I think that would be really awesome to see Tommy Jarvis go up against Jason in that type of way. But that's just me. So with that all being said, I definitely think that this is something that we can't obviously rely on, because Feldman is not a source. He probably, like the article says, has no real insight as to what is going on behind closed doors with the Friday the 13th franchise. It sounds like he was at a party and somebody just came up to him who happens to be a lawyer and says, it's been resolved. They can start making Friday the 13th movies again. Now, of course, this is just a rumor. Nothing has been officially posted by Horror Inc., Victor Miller, or anybody, or any source like Variety, Hollywood Reporter. Those are the sources that you have to look out for. Okay, so Feldman is not a source, but he is making a claim, he is making a statement that he has heard that the Friday the 13th franchise has been resolved. And again, this just happens to be at a party he was at, and a lawyer came up to him and started talking to him, and literally, let's just go through that quote again. Interestingly enough, some guy came up to me at a party, this is true, 2 weeks ago and said he has resolved the rights issues. Feldman claims he is a lawyer and he has resolved the rights issues around Friday the 13th. And honestly, that could just be any lawyer. Sure, maybe he was talking to a lawyer, but maybe the lawyer was just talking to him about ways that he would resolve it if he was on the case. There is a lot of question marks right there to be, there's a lot of just question marks right there. So This is not an official source. This is a rumor, and that's why in the brackets it says rumor. Corey Feldman claims Friday the 13th dispute is resolved. But I do like the idea. I like the pitch idea that he brought to Paramount and New Line about Tommy Jarvis, going up against Jason in a Freddy versus Jason type of style way. I think that could be interesting, and it would be cool to see Corey Feldman come back in a Friday the 13th movie in the future once the entire rights issues and shit gets, resolved, because obviously that's still an ongoing thing. I do think that from a standpoint of how slashers and everything are coming back right now, like, Michael Myers, Chucky, Ghostface, Leatherface, I do think that this rights issue is really, really holding back from the Friday the 13th movies, making money and being incredibly popular, especially around this time. Now, I'm sure when Friday the 13th eventually, gets a reboot or a sequel or whatever route it is they're going to take once the franchise, gets resolved with the legal issue that's been going on, I'm sure it's going to make money, because it's going to be the first time that we will have seen Jason on the big screen in the longest time. I mean, we haven't seen a Friday the 13th movie since 2009. That same year, we got Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and now we're already getting, new Michael Myers movies and everything like that. Ghostface is making his return for the first time in 10 years, 11 years it will have been come January of 2022. But yeah, I definitely think that that's kind of holding the franchise back. But either way, it's going to make money when it comes out, because it will obviously go down as very popular because of the situation that the Friday Films is in right now. So again, guys, this is all just rumors. Corey Feldman is not an official source. The article says that. I'm saying that. And there's been no official source that has claimed that the franchise has been, or the issue has been resolved. So with all that being said, post your guys' comments down below. Let me know, what do you guys think of this information? And would you guys like to see Corey Feldman go up against Jason Voorhees in a Friday the 13th movie again? Whatever your guys' thoughts are, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you guys like this, don't forget to join me on my journey to 10,000 subscribers, and I will see you guys in my next video.